So these are Zwift's next generation Click controllers, which are way different than the original Click, adding nearly all the functionality of their Play controllers into these two little pods that you can put pretty much anywhere on your bike. So you'll be able to use these for virtual shifting just like the original Click, but you'll also be able to do stuff like navigating and pretty much everything else that you could do with the Play controllers, just now in this smaller or more flexible form factor. And in fact, the Play controllers are going to be going away, and these are going to be replacing both the Play controllers as well as the original Click. And it does make a ton of sense considering all the functions and features that these have. Now, the controllers for these Zwift rides, so those are still sticking around though, as those are dedicated controllers for the Zwift ride frame itself, but these are really going to be meant for anyone riding a traditional frame with a Zwift compatible virtual shifting trainer. So with these new Clicks, so these will come as an upgrade kit where you'll get the new Clicks, their new Zwift cog, and then the cog will already be mounted to a cassette body for your particular trainer. And the particular one that I've been using is for a Garmin Tax trainer, but they also have these available for Wahoo trainers, Elite trainers, Van Rysel trainers, as well as Jet Black, in addition to Tax, of course. Now, unfortunately, at this time, there's no option to buy these Clicks by themselves standalone without the cog and the free hub body. So if you do already happen to have a cog, well, you're just going to have an extra. But if you do happen to have the original cog, so you'll at least get an upgrade here with this cog that's now adjustable, and it's also quieter than the original cog. But even though you can't buy these Clicks by themselves without the cog and the free hub body, the price for the upgrade kits is $49, which I have to say is really reasonable for what these are. And these are being announced today, September 4th, the day that this video is being published, and then they'll be available for sale September 9th on Zwift.com. And one more thing before we get into what these actually do is that I'd also anticipate that like future trainers that are Zwift compatible will also come with these versus the original Click, but I guess just time will tell. So for what you can do with these, so first off, you can do virtual shifting just like the original Clicks, as well as the Play controllers for that matter, where instead of having an up and down button on just one pod like the original Click, you now have plus and minus buttons on each pod, which you can use for both virtual shifting to shift gears, but also increase and decrease resistance if you're using erg mode. And then in addition to that, on the left pod, you have directional buttons that you can use for navigating through menus, whether that's just like starting up the game, like selecting your route, but then you can also use it in the game for steering, as well as bringing up the action bar to, let's say, take a screenshot, or even teleporting to a robo pacer. And then the right pod has the normal like A, B, Y, Z buttons for selecting, going back, as well as using power-ups and ride-ons. Now, they actually shared some pretty interesting stats about all you all who use Play controllers, where 84% of Zwifters who have controllers access the action bar, and then you're also 2.6 times more likely to use the teleport feature, and then 1.7 times more likely to give a ride-on if you have controllers. And for me, I'd have to say that's probably true, where if I'm using controllers, I'm way more likely to give ride-ons or even like use the action bar versus like having to touch my laptop. Now, the original Play controllers are awesome if you have a road handlebar, but not so awesome if you have a mountain bike handlebar. And that's actually one of the big reasons they came out with this new design, is that you can pretty much mount these on any handlebar that you like. But not only that, you can also mount these in any orientation that you'd like too. So during the setup process, they'll guide you through a quick tutorial about how to actually use these in regards to the button functions and such, but then you can also customize the orientation of these based on where you want the plus and minus buttons to be, depending on how you mount them. And then when you do rotate them, so the directional pad also does adjust to accommodate the new orientation. However, the A, B, Z, Y buttons do actually remain in the same orientation all the time, since they're both labeled as well as color coded. And in terms of the button feel, so that pretty much feels the same as both the Play controllers as well as the original Click, where has a nice click, maybe a little bit less clicky, but still very positive. And there's the Play controller. So yeah, pretty positive overall and very, very similar. And these are rubber coated, so they should be sweat proof, just like the original Click. And these use the same kind of coin cell battery as the original Click as well. However, these aren't rechargeable like the Play controllers. And another thing about the setup is that you'll just pair to one Bluetooth connection for both Clicks. So only one Click connection will actually appear in the controls menu in the Zwift game. And then the Clicks just talk to each other. So you don't need two Bluetooth connections for both these Clicks. So this will definitely come in handy if you have a device that has limited Bluetooth connectivity. Now, I try to usually come up with both good things as well as things that can be improved with every review, but I'm kind of having a hard time complaining about these where these just kind of work. But I guess if I did have to kind of say something, is that there can be a little bit of an extra strap that kind of like flaps around here if your handlebar is a little bit too small, but you can go ahead and trim that off. And then I guess the other thing is that I really do wish that these came as a standalone accessory without the cog and the free hub body. But again, even for the price of the whole upgrade kit with the cog, free hub body, and these, that's kind of a pretty good price. Anyhow, if you have any questions about these that I didn't cover in the video, feel free to drop those down in the comment section down below. And it's definitely ramping up to be trainer season, at least for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. So I definitely have a lot more trainer content that's coming up soon. So make sure to subscribe to get notified when those videos come out. In the meantime, happy riding, and we will see you in the next video.